Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Rich My Force Finest, the podcast. Hey, today is Friday, October 23rd. And if you follow me on social media on TikTok or on Instagram, you may have seen a video that I posted this morning in response to so many teachers asking about the letters of the flags being removed from those Texas teachers in that certification scandal. We talked about probably a week ago how there was some statute in the Texas Administrative Code, the Texas Education Code, that allowed for those flags to be removed from those teacher certifications if the investigations had bypassed 240 days. And so we're going to kind of talk about that because people were asking questions like, hey, if the flags got removed, does that still mean that the teacher is under investigation or the case is closed? So I just want to kind of talk about that. So we read a letter, a breakdown that the teachers received. And I told you guys this morning, I said, hey, when I got off work and off contract time, because I am surrounded by haters that are colleagues, we're going to kind of break down that letter. So it's me in my bed talking to y'all. I didn't even drive to the studio for this. I just came home and straight recorded this. So it's very, very, when I say raw, it's raw. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back and read the letter for those of you that did not follow the TikTok or the Instagram video that I posted this morning so that you know exactly what the letter states that those teachers got that had those flags removed off of their certifications. All right. So the letter reads, as you are aware, the TEA Educator Investigation Division previously received information indicating that you may have engaged in conduct detrimental to the welfare of children of the state of Texas, as referenced in Chapter 19 of the Texas Administration Code. I'm sorry, Section 19 of the Texas Administration Code, Chapters 230 and 249. Specifically, the division receives information that indicated you may have participated in a scheme involving State Board for Educator certification, or otherwise known as SBEC, certification test administration rules and or procedures in an attempt to obtain a certificate or permit by fraudulent or unauthorized means. Based on this allegation, the division opened a formal investigation and placed an investigative warning on your SBEC certificate on whatever the specified date of 2025. Everybody's letter has a different date. As of the date of this letter, the investigation remains ongoing. However, the investigation warning has been removed in response to your request to remove the warning in accordance with Section 19 of the Texas Administration Code, Chapter 249, Section .14, or whatever it's called. So, should you have any questions or require further clarification, please feel free to contact this person. This is Paul Morales. All right. So, um, this letter, guys, has basically shaken Texas educators to their core. All right. So I want to break down this letter to you guys in plain English and then look at what it means legally under Texas law, including what, if anything, the teachers can do to protect themselves from being harassed or dragged through an indefinite ongoing investigation. All right. So let's do a step by step breakdown of the letter. So let's look at that first opening line. As you are aware, the TEA Investigation Division previously received information indicating that you may have engaged in conduct detrimental to the welfare of children of the state of Texas. Y'all, what TA is basically saying is that, hey, we got a tip or report claiming that you might, emphasis on might, have done something bad related to kids. Now, that's hella crazy. Let me go back and say that they cite Chapter 239 and 249 of the Texas Administrative Code, which governs educator certification and discipline in the state of Texas, but they don't quite cite any specific rule, evidence, or complaint right now, right? So, what's important about the context here is that it's hella vague, right? It has super broad language. So this whole conduct detrimental to the welfare of children is this catch-all phrase that TEA uses when they don't yet have a clear proof or any clear proof of misconduct, right? But even saying something detrimental to the welfare of children of the state of Texas, it sounds so creepy, right? So anyway, now we get into the allegation section. Specifically, the division received information that indicated you may have participated in a scheme involving SBEC certification test administration rules. All right. So again, they're referencing that whole 2024 teacher certification scandal, which basically accuses you without proof of being part of a test fraud scheme. All right. So they use that phrase, may have participated. So even that phrase says that, hey, they don't even have enough verified evidence. They just have information which could be anything from like a database flag, a name on a spreadsheet, unverified third party data, some damn Cash App or Zelle transactions that they're trying to piece together, like y'all see them do in those crime TV shows that they had their whole board and they got some yarn and some safety pins trying to piece clues together. All right. So, anyway, that next line, based on the allegation, the division opens a formal investigation and place an investigative warning on your SPEC certificate on whatever date it was. So that means they place a flag on those teacher certifications that is visible to any school district or future employer saying that you were under investigation or that you currently are under investigation. Now, why this is problematic, guys, is because it makes people look hella guilty to employers, even though no findings have been made. They have no charges against them, all right? But that red flag is like the damn scarlet letter for teachers. So anytime any school district or any place that has children or that has people that employs people, I'm sorry, I can't talk, y'all, that employs people where you will be over children and that flag is on your certificate, they will not hire you. They will not hire you. All right. Now, let's get to the important part, the removal. So, as of the date of this letter, this investigation remains ongoing. However, the investigation warning has been removed in response to your request to remove the warning in accordance with that statute that we have been quoting here. All right. So, they admit that your flag was removed because you requested it under that ruling, right? That's the newly updated rule that replaced subsection N of the old version that we have been talking about. But here's the key issue. Even though they removed the public flag, they are still keeping your investigation open internally, right? So that means that they can reopen or continue looking for evidence indefinitely, even though they've already missed their legal 240-day deadline in most cases. So that even that part in that letter where they say, hey, we're gonna go ahead and remove this flag because your begging ass asked for the flag to be removed, and damn, you caught a loophole or you caught a slipping because we didn't think that you guys even paid attention to the Texas Administrative Code or the Texas Education Code, and now you found that loophole and you caught us dragging our feet, and we have not abided by the 240-day rule. In most cases, most of them, those investigations were well over 240 days, guys. So they're like, all right, here, damn, with your begging asses. We're going to go ahead and take this off right now. But they're kind of keeping you scared and keeping you under their thumb by saying, don't think that we're not going to call you back into question or call you back down to this office and tell you that the investigation is still ongoing, or, hey, we're bringing this back up and we could put a flag back on your certification at any time. They're just letting you know, like, damn, you caught us slipping, and because you did request this and this is the law, we got to follow the law, we're going to go ahead and do that. So, should you have any questions or require further clarification, please feel free to contact. And that's Paul Morales. That's the one senior investigative officer that has had all of these cases dropped in his lap. He is the person that has been harassed. I know he's been harassed because everybody that I've talked to has said they've been blowing Paul Morales up daily. Because, guys, listen, let's go back a little bit. Most of these teachers, when they first got that certified letter saying, hey, you have been, your certification is being placed under investigation. You're under investigation. You can call and have a scheduled hearing. And they got their hearing. So those teachers had their hearing virtually or on the phone with Mr. Paul Morales. Some people had representation. Some people didn't have representation. He basically asked the same set of questions of those people. But guess what he told them? Some people even got their interviews in March, guys, March of 2025. And they were told they would hear something from Paul Morales back in 14 days. Here we are in damn near November, and these teachers still have not heard anything. All right. So even though once those sanctions were placed on those teacher certification back in March or back in December, some even back in October, and they had their hearing, after when they put that certification or put that flag on their certification and they told that they were under investigation, they had 240 days to make some shit shake. And guys, I personally feel, let me put an emphasis on, I personally feel that they don't have anything and they're dragging it out. What they're banking on is many teachers, which some people have, even though I've talked to them and I'm like, why in the hell did you do that? Those teachers going in and confessing and giving themselves up and revoking their certifications. All right. And some teachers have done that. And so you'll go in and log into SBEC and you'll see that there is a sanction on those teachers' certifications who went in and basically confessed. All right. So let's talk about the authority that they're using. So that's Section 19, Chapter 230 of the Texas Education Code, which governs certification rules like requirements for testing, renewal, etc. Section 19, Chapter 249 of the Texas Education Code, I'm sorry, the Texas Administrative Code, it governs the disciplinary proceedings and investigations against teachers, all right, or educators. Let me say educators because that could be anybody. Now, under those two chapters, Chapter 230 and Chapter 249, TEA can open investigations based on any information they receive. All right. So anytime they receive information, they can open an investigation against you. But they must do two things, right? They must investigate within a reasonable period of time. That is that 240-day limit. And they must provide due process if they plan to take your disciplinary action to the SOAH. All right. That is the State Office of Administrative Hearing. Now, they have to do those two things under the law. All right. They're just looking into it. And I'm using my air quotes of looking into it. Now, let's go ahead and break down the 240-day rule. All right. So, y'all know that I talk a lot about my girl, attorney Stacey Childs. Stacey Childs is one of the, first of all, she is attorney Stacey Childs. She is also one of the few Black sitting board members of the Texas State Board of Education. She's an advocate. She's a politician. She is running for Texas House of Representatives for District 131. So my girl is out here putting in work. All right. So the people that have reached out to attorney Stacey Childs have been successful. They have gotten their flags removed early, and because of attorney Stacey Childs and a few other attorneys has used that Chapter 249 to force the removal of those flags. All right. Now, that subsection of the Texas Administration Code has been reorganized, but the law is the same. All right. Texas cannot keep flags indefinitely on certifications without resolving them or referring them to that Office of Administrative Hearings. Now, if they miss that window, that 240-day window, and they don't prove tolling, now remember we talked about tolling in another video. Tolling is basically them pausing the clock on your 240 days due to another criminal case or something that else is tied to your investigation. If they don't, if they miss that window and they don't prove tolling, they are legally obligated to remove that flag off of your certificate. And that's basically what happened here, guys. Those teachers invoked their rights, and then the TEA had to comply. Even if it was reluctantly, they didn't really want to. They probably was like, damn, how y'all found out about this? But they had to. They were legally obligated to remove that flag, right? Now, that little line that says the investigation remains ongoing, that is some gray area. And that's kind of what has a lot of teachers up in the tizzy, but that's something that the TEA can kind of hide behind, right? So to the public, they remove that red flag, that scarlet letter, that ugly thing, right? So your certificate looks clean to the public, all right? It looks good. But they claim that the investigation is still open internally. So this is the behind the doors, letting you know, like, hey girl, hey man, your shit's still ongoing. The investigation ain't closed. We're not done with you. We're just, removing that flag because we have to, so that the public doesn't think that you're still under investigation. Now, I tend to wonder that 240 days, 240 days is a crazy long time anyway, especially like if you got something, you got something. But if not, to drag it out, because that's damn near, well, hell, what an academic school year is 187 days, 190 something days, depending on where you are. These teachers have been unemployed. So that's a long time to have a teacher in limbo without um being able to seek employment while you drag some shit out that you really don't have. But anyway, this matters because, like I said, it keeps teachers in limbo. Now, there are things that even when I looked on Chatiana that they said could be done about this due process challenge, legislative reform. I'm not going to get into the legal terminology with that due process challenge. You guys can look it up on Chatiana, or you guys can contact an attorney. But I did see something because one of the teachers asked me, like, damn, what can I do to make them stop harassing me? Because some teachers are still, guys, receiving phone calls from the Harris County District Attorney's Office or whatever county they were in when they, allegedly committed this act. those investigators, I cannot talk today. Those investigators are still calling teachers, harassing teachers because, guys, in my opinion, they ain't got nothing on the top people. The people they was calling the kingpins, they ain't got nothing on them. So they are still trying to bully people or threaten teachers into rolling on those individuals so that they can make their cases stick. Because without that, they absolutely have nothing. Now, I feel, again, my personal opinion, because I don't need the investigators calling my damn phone. If TA had clear evidence of fraud or cheating, they would already have basically filed their petition for disciplinary action under Chapter 249 if they really, really had something. Or they would have referred the case to the SOAH, that's the State Office of Administrative Hearing, if they had something. All right. They would have referred it to that office for the people to go in front of a board, go in front of have a hearing and say, you did this. This is all of the proof we have that you did this. Here's the documentation. Here's the photos. Here are the sworn statements. But they don't have that. So that's why they dragging this shit out. Now, the fact that none of that happened and they only removed the flag after those teachers demanded it means that shit, it's likely they have insufficient proof. All right. They do not have any proof, which I have been saying since the shit first popped off, guys. It was almost impossible to think that they had all that dirt on those teachers. It just didn't make sense. All right. So that is why they're using things like may have and we received information that indicates. It's hella vague, all right? It's vague enough to sound serious, but it ain't. Anyway, all right. Now, it's good news for teachers because the investigative warning, that flag is gone. They have to comply once teachers demanded it. And these teachers have not been formally charged with any misconduct. All right. So hell, as it stands, your certificate is active and it is valid. Now, here's something crazy that I heard when I talked to a teacher the other day. That teacher said that, and this was a really, really young teacher, and I feel like they really played with those young teachers. As a matter of fact, a couple of young teachers that I've been talking to said that they played with them. They called them down. They got counsel. They called them down. The attorney rode with them to the police station where they, had them. Here's the recording. Raise your hand. Swear that this statement is true. If you don't do this, we're gonna charge you with fraud. Especially my special education teachers because y'all know they deal with IEPs and things like that in student care and they're signing those logs and signing those IEPs and those art meetings. And so they were threatening these young teachers with like federal charges, talking about they frauded the special education department. They frauded the special education students. And now we owe all of these students compensatory time because you did blah, 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 blah. And those teachers told on themselves. They were like, damn, you right. I did do it. I have no other thing to do but confess because if I confess to cheating on the test, you won't charge me criminally. And they knew damn good well they couldn't charge them teachers criminally because they did not have anything on them, right? Now, here's the bad news. Let's talk about the good news. TA can still claim the investigation is ongoing, which keeps teachers under that quiet certificate surveillance, right? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a job because my certificate is clean, but I'm gonna be on pins and needles while I'm working at my new job in my new district because at any given moment, y'all gonna call me back to the office like y'all did at the end of 2024 and put me on leave and say I'm under investigation, have my name blasted through the media and the news all over again, and embarrass and humiliate me like you did once before. Now, they can reopen it later if they find something new, although they must show cause that this is why we're reopening this case. All right. Now, again, what teachers can do legally to protect themselves is any written documentation or any written proof of any TA correspondence that you have. Please keep it, especially that letter that y'all are getting that says that they removed that flag. Hell, take a screenshot of the SBEC website that says on this date the flag is shown as removed. Um, Request written confirmation that no active disciplinary action is pending under that chapter 249. Now, something that an attorney told me when I talked to them, they were like, hey, tell these people to file an open records request for all material that is related to your case. That's any emails, any notes, any evidence. They are public records once they redact that student information out of there. I was like, you know what? That's a damn good idea. And it's probably not a bad idea for you as just a regular employee that's not under investigation to do an open records request and request your anything that your district got going with your name in it. I'm sure you'll find some interesting things. I know my shit would probably be hella interesting. Um, If TEA contacts you again without any new evidence, your attorney can send a cease and desist or demand closure, all right, citing unreasonable continuation of investigation and potential harassment. Again, talk to the attorney about that. I just found that on Google and printed it out so I can read it to y'all because I thought that was hella interesting. All right. And then, as always, like I'm doing, like so many other teachers on social media are doing, advocate for reform, guys. We always talk about board meetings and going down to Austin or going on down to your state capital and advocating for reform. This is exactly what Attorney Stacey Childs is doing. All right, she's pushing for TEA deadlines to be final and not optional, amongst many, many other things that Stacey Childs is pushing for. All right. So, bottom line, guys, I hope this was clear for you. I know I'm kind of talking fast and I'm laying in the bed and it sounds so very unprofessional. I hope y'all don't hold that against me, but I just really wanted to get this to y'all today. Um, Teachers, again, chin up, chest out. All right. This is a saying I use in my house and I'm talking to my kids. We don't wallow in self pity. I know so many of you have been like hella depressed about this. This has been embarrassing. This has been humiliating. And your mental health has declined because you have been drugged through the mud on social media and through the media outlets. But hey, you are not guilty of anything. All of this stuff is alleged. All right. As of right now, your certificate is active and it is valid, and you can demand closure if they continue dragging out this investigation and if they continue to harass you. Teachers who have not sent Paul Morales or anybody in TEA their letters requesting that those flags be removed because you are over the 240-day deadline. Count your days from the time that they told you that they were placing your certification under investigation. And if you are over that 240 days, you guys need to email Paul Morales. You need to email that Vincent Caran guy. I can never remember how to say his name, but it's Vincent Carang. And then there's another guy named Kerry Murphy. I don't know. I'm messing up. But you need to email those three people. Get on Chatiana. Like I said, if you don't have the means to pay for an attorney, get on Chatiana and say, hey, something about chapter 249 of the Texas Administrative Code, Texas Educators, chapter 230, and say, I need a letter demanding that they remove that flag off of my certificate. And they have to respond to you within 10 days of you sending that letter to them. So within 10 days of you guys sending that letter to them, they are supposed to either remove the flag or tell you, no, we're applying tolling. We're going to pause your days because we have this proof that you did some other shit. But even with them doing that, they have to provide you that proof. All right. So either they're going to tell you we're going to remove it or we're going to send your case up to that SOAH and get you a hearing and say that we have some solid evidence and proof that you were involved in fraud and wrongdoing. All right. It's Friday, guys. I am in the bed. I'm about to rub my feet together like a cricket and watch my crime TV shows. I hope you guys have found this little impromptu podcast episode informational and helpful. And again, if you need anything, please reach out to me. My calendar is open. Calendar is open for you guys. Some of you have very specific questions. Some of you are asking me for guidance, step by step guidance. And I am more than happy to do that if you book a session with me on my calendar. I would love to talk to the hundreds and hundreds of you that have reached out to me every day if I could, but guys, time does not permit that. And every penny that I earn when you guys book with me through my calendar allows me to help other teachers and help families and advocates to get, fair treatment for their students in public schools. So I'm not doing this to pay my light bill. I'm not doing this to go on trips. I'm not doing this to buy wigs and bundles. I am doing this to pour money back into my grassroots initiative, which is the School Truth Project, which advocates for teachers and families and communities to help them get fair treatment in public schools. So, you can always donate if you guys just want to help me out and donate because it's a good cause. But this is where all of my advocacy work is going. So advocacy is tiresome. Advocacy is not free, however. So, anywho, that's that. And I hope you guys found this again helpful. If you need anything else, hit me up, richmondforestfinest at gmail.com. Richmondforest_finest at that's on Instagram. And then on TikTok, I am Richmond Forest Finest.